Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We are on the test server and strap yourselves in for a big video because not only do we have the cool Christmas background, and look, there's the new Lady Nicholas, I guess she's called. I don't know. No info on her yet on the test server. What we're looking at though today, we are going to be diving in depth into everything about the new Relic system. Because, well, not over here. Ooh, there we can see it leveling up. Actually, it's in the forge. If we come over to relic crafting, this is where it is. Number one, we can craft relics. I don't have any of this stuff to do it. But if we look at the relic index, we can look at, and we will look at in this video, every single relic and every single gemstone. So go make yourselves a cup of tea or a pot of coffee. Make yourself a pot of tea, a cup of coffee. I don't know. Either which way, make yourself comfortable because this might take a while. And I'm going to move over to this side because apparently this is the wrong side. In fact, we can flip me horizontal as well. Look at this. We have the technology. Hopefully I don't flip the wrong thing here. I flipped me. There we go. This is my right hand. So you know which way. I don't know. I think I'm the wrong way around. It doesn't matter. So first up, let's go from the worst to the best, actually. Let's start with the rare ones, the ones you're more likely to get, and then we'll go up. First of all, we've got the standard group and we've got the Chimera group. So the standard group relics can be crafted in the forge using materials. There's always a 50% chance to craft a relic from the standard group, regardless of the material combination. And I think we're going to be getting materials to craft standard relics from, I think, Siege, maybe CVC, that sort of thing. Then we've got the Chimera group. Can only be crafted in the forge using ocular masses. You can get these by battling in the Chimera or as rewards in Chimera chests. So check out my video on the Chimera. That should be up on the channel already as well. The Chimera boss, by completing trials for the boss, you can unlock these ocular masses, which obviously makes the boss more difficult for higher rewards, and then from the Chimera chests as well. But the chance to craft a relic from the Chimera group cannot exceed 50%. So assuming these are going to be more powerful, but that being said, I actually think Hallowed Hilt, when we get there, to me, it looks like the most OP one so far for one simple reason. We'll see when we get there. Let's go through them, though. The first from your standard relics, the Rod of Blasphemy. It's a rare, and when it is maxed out, you get 6,000 HP, 200 attack, 28 accuracy. The wearer receives 2% less damage if under any debuffs. Pretty minor, all things considered, pretty minor. Not a huge deal, and there's one circular gemstone slot. You get an extra gemstone slot per rarity, right? So 1 for rare, 2 for epic, 3 for legendary, 4 for mythical. That's definitely going to contribute to the power, and obviously the effects and the stats get better and stuff as well. So I think Rod of Blasphemy, not really exciting. You know, it's going to make you a little bit tankier, help with your accuracy a bit. Not too crazy. Journal of Necrotus. The wearer's heals and turn meter increase effects applied to allies are boosted by 15%. This is way better. This is actually really good, right? 15% more healing is decent. 15% more turn meter boost is actually very, very nice. Slap this on your Arbiter or whatever, your Sifi or Lysandra, whatever speed champion you're using, and that becomes a lot more impactful. You know what? This actually be bonkers good on, actually pretty good for Operdin, who's been reworked. Very, very strong for Senna as well, who does lots of healing and so much turn meter boosting. Androck, the Glorious, really good for him as well. So lots of potential, I think, for this one. Again, it's got HP defense, resistance, so brilliant for any, just making your supports a little bit tankier. Mask of Rage, HP defense and accuracy. Wearer receives 5% less damage from enemies under a provoke debuff. Probably the worst one so far. This is pretty shocking. Somewhat useful if you're running provoke champions in like the Cursed City, but that's about it, just to keep them alive. Pretty weak, this one. And these are all circular gemstones only for the rares here. The Unholy Grail is up next then. Attack, HP, and 11% crit damage. Wearer does 2% more damage if under any debuff. So a little bit of a damage boost. Because it has HP and attack, this could be very nice for someone like a Rotus or, anyone, He-Man, anyone that scales off HP and attack. They're quite rare. Toshiro, not that many of them. But it also means you can put it on any sort of damage dealer. If they're a HP damage dealer, okay, look, 3,000 more HP, it's okay. If they're an attack-based damage dealer, 400 attack, it's okay, right? And then some crit damage is generally useful. So yeah, again, it's an okay damage dealer route. Nothing too special, but it's fine. Next up, we've got the Golden Elixir. This is epic. Attack, accuracy, HP. Better stats overall, 51 accuracy, right? It's a nice boost there. Wearer is instantly healed by 10% when their HP drops below 50%. Could be kind of nice. I'm guessing this doesn't have a cooldown. So let's say you go to 49, you get healed right back up to 59. And then if you get knocked to 49 again, you get healed right back up to 59. And you just keep going. So this could actually be insanely good for extremely tanky champions. So for trying to like solo Doom Tower bosses, for super tanky revivers in Arena, this could actually have a pretty strong impact. Again, I'm assuming it doesn't have a cooldown. It says nothing about it. That could actually be really good, right? It could genuinely be very strong. So that's one to look at for sure. Demonic Effigy, lots of resistance and 6 speed. Nice, and HP. Wearer's turn meter increases by 10% whenever one of their allies dies. Again, a really solid one for just in general, but particularly so for revivers, right? Tanky revivers getting more speed, HP resistance. Turn meter boost when someone dies. Pretty fantastic. And then the Gilded Dragonstone. Defense, 51 resistance, and some HP. Wearer's defense increases by 1% each time they receive damage, up to 10%. For like a defensive-based damage dealer, like you think about a Harima or a Laz in Hydra, right? I mean, that's basically very quickly giving you 10% more damage. Pretty good. So for defense damage dealers, really, really nice. For anyone, again, it's just giving you a bit more survivability. So I think this is it's a solid one too. Now we're on to the 2 legendaries. Wand of Submission, first of all. And also, I should mention, guys, these are the current ones. One thing I love about this, they can always add more gemstones, and they will definitely add, I'm almost certain of it, more relics in the future. That's what I like about this system. They can add to this in the future, and so on. Like, this is just what we're starting with. The Wand of Submission, this looks quite a bit more powerful. 6,000 HP, but 12 speed, 28 accuracy. That's really nice. Wearer has a 25% chance to reflect, stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, petrification, or sheep back at the producer. This is an amazing relic for Arena in particular, where crowd control is very common, especially the sheep. That extra speed and accuracy and HP, that is so good on so many champions. It's actually bonkers. So this is extremely, extremely strong. The aspect of Siroth, really interesting. Siroth is like the big bad guy in Raid in the lore. Looks very much like the clan boss head, actually, which is cool. When this has defense, resistance, and accuracy, more resistance. When the wearer receives fatal damage, reduces it by 50% of their turn meter, then fully reduces their turn meter. Cooldown 1 turn. So this specifically does have a cooldown. It sounds weird. What exactly does this do? Like, I get hit for, I don't know, 100,000 and I'm going to die. Like, if it reduces it by 50%, like, this could still kill me, no? And it fully reduces my turn. This, to me, seems pretty bad. I don't know what this is for. Honestly, this one is odd. I don't get it. Let me know what you think, guys. Maybe you can see something I can't. But this seems, number one, I don't understand. Like, this sounds to me like it could still kill you. And then it's going to leave you on, like, no health with no turn meter. Seems kind of dodgy, but I don't know. Let me know what you think about the aspect of Siroth. I think Wand of Submission is way better. Then we come to the Hallowed Hilt. I think this is the most powerful relic probably I've seen so far for one simple reason. 24 speed. That is bonkers. That is crazy, right? 6-star Blessing gives you 15 speed on a legendary. 6-star Blessing on a mythical is 20 speed. This thing is giving you 24 speed. It's a huge increase. Absolutely crazy. So this is going to be best in slot for so many champions in Arena. Spoiler warning in advance, none of the other relics have anywhere near this. I actually think that this is the second best with 12 speed. So this is an entire 12 speed faster, I believe, than any other relic right now. It's insane. Whenever the wearer heals an ally with an active skill, has a 25% chance to place the Fervor buff on the ally for 1 turn. That's a new buff. If we jump over, I can show you that new buff. You got debuffs. We come over to the skill section, and we come over, click more info. We can see all the new buffs and debuffs here, which is nice. They've actually put them in, which is good. There's like Necrosis is new. Hunter's Gaze, by the way, if you want to take a screenshot, that's what that does. Sorry, I'm in the way. That's what the Chimera does, Hunter's Gaze. There we go. And here's Fervor. We also have Stormcall. We'll look at that and we'll come back to that in a sec. Fervor increases damage inflicted by 10% and reduces damage received by 10%. Fantastic buff. That's really, really strong. So it's like 2 buffs of protection set, 9-piece protection, 10% more damage, plus 10% damage reduction. Absolutely amazing. It's small, but every little thing adds up. That's actually pretty big in raid terms. So I think this buff is very, very nice. Stormcall, by the way, is a new buff, which gives you 3% more damage, and you can have a maximum of 5 Stormcall stacks, up to 15% more damage. And when you attack with 5 Stormcall stacks, you do a guaranteed stun debuff on the target and remove all Stormcall stacks. The stun cannot be resisted. Very much like Thor's passive, right? But that is part of a different relic, which we'll see soon. So there you go. That's the Hallowed Hilt. I think the buff is amazing. The stats are bonkers. This is so strong. Like, think about this on someone like Marishka, who can heal her entire team. Very strong. I think, like, for Sifi and stuff, like, that's a passive heal. I don't think that works. I don't know if it works with continuous heal either. But yeah, I think this is kind of nuts. Or like Arbiter revives and those are A3. I think even the Arbiter A3 in general, I guess they have to be below half HP to get healed for this to actually trigger. But yeah, pretty spicy. Then we've got the Valcardiac Heart. I love the name. Valcardiac. That's so good. 96 resistance. That's a massive amount of resistance. Think about that on someone like Starsage Galathir or a Mithrala, and again, they're just going to become so much harder to actually debuff in arena. Some HP and defense. This seems crazy for Starsage Galathir. Again, jumps out to me immediately. Wearer places a 10% Magma Shield buff for 2 turns at the start of the battle. Also puts a Magma Shield buff on the Wearer for 2 turns whenever they lose 25% of their HP in a single hit. Now, I didn't see the Magma Shield in the new buff section. Maybe I missed it, but I think it is just a shield. I think it's just a special name for this shield. In fact, actually, I'm lying. I did see it, so I remember now, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I wasn't thinking properly. But if I look at the shields, yeah, you see in shields, we now have I never can tell which one is which. One of them is from artifacts, one of them is from skills, and then this is the new Magma Shield. I'm pretty sure that's brand new. So there we go. So you can now have 3 different types of shields, which would be hilarious if they had not capped shields. You could now, in theory, have like a Wixwell team with everyone in Magma Shield, with a shield set on the team and a Wixwell shield, and grow them all. And the Wixwell would now be 50% more powerful. So I do think that that's part of why they nerfed Wixwell as well, was that it was about to get even stronger, which would have been quite something. But yeah, that's the Magma Shield. I think it's just, it functions as a normal shield, essentially. It's just, you've got a shield, it's 10% of your HP, but yeah, whenever you lose 25% HP, you get another shield. Again, I think for someone like Starsage Galathir, who's tanky, who loves these defensive stats, that could be bonkers. No speed on it, which sucks, but yeah, that could make him even tougher to kill than he already is, and that's saying something. Right, let's jump over. Let's look at the Chimera group next, and then we'll check out all the gemstones. Hope you guys are comfy. Molten Deathbell up first. This is the rare one. 96 accuracy on this rare one. If we just take a flick through, like 51 accuracy, 40% crit damage on a rare. So very clearly looking at the stats on the Chimera group relics are kind of nuts. That's just a rare. That's so much stronger than the rares from your standard group. Like, you were getting 28 accuracy on that one. I mean, you're getting more HP for sure, but the 96 accuracy is pretty insane. Wearer's turn meter increases by 10% when applying stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, petrification, and sheep debuffs to enemies. Occurs once per turn. It's a small benefit, but it's kind of nice, right? That's kind of nice, making your provoker and like Hydra more consistent. Like Arman's getting even more turn meter, right? Galathir getting more turn meter. Lady Mikage, all of these crazy champs. It's small, but it's a nice little benefit right there. These also, by the way, as you can see, the Chimera group, like this one's got a pentagon shape. This one's got the square. I guess this is a different type of square. I guess this is the diamond. Then they've got a square. I wish they'd just gone like, I guess you couldn't have a 2, right? There's no shape with 2. It would be a line. I guess, circle, line. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought it'd be cool, like the number of sides equal to the thing, but we've got diamond and square. Anyway, I'm babbling, but you get the gist. They all have different shape slots. So that's that one. The Tempest Sanguinus, lots of HP, decent chunk of accuracy as well. Whereas turn meter reduction effects are boosted by 15%. Again, that's potentially very strong on champions that are pushing back and manipulating turn meter. That's a nice little bonus. Diadem of Undeath. That is just defensive stats. Wearer's defense increases by 1% for each ally under ally protection placed by them. Pretty minor, but, you know, it's okay for someone like... There's not that many ally protectors. It'll help them stay alive a little bit. I think this one is a little bit underwhelming. Like, you know, it's an okay bonus for a Krisk, but I'm not really blown away by it. The Malefic Talon, this is bonkers just because that 40% crit damage, guys. 40% right there. And you have a 20% chance to deal 10% more damage when attacking. So it doesn't add up to much, right? It's on average, what, 2% more damage on average. But, I mean, every now and then it's going to pop off and really let you hit hard. I think that's really good. And like 40% more crit damage is a huge stat boost as well. So this is only rare. This seems like you will be able to get it and level it up fairly reasonably. And this is going to be one a lot of people are going to be using for sure. Really, really nice. Then we've got the Arethi Coronet. Or is it Coronet? I don't know. I've never said that word out loud before. It's like a type of crown. Attack, accuracy, and some HP. Stats are kind of okay, not amazing. Lots of attack, I guess. The wearer's damage increases by 1% each time they place a debuff. Stacks up to 30%. Again, that's actually very solid, though. Yeah, you think about someone like Thor that can place debuffs, right? Or Ninja or something like that. Anyone that's good with Nature's Wrath, this is, again, like, it's Nature's Wrath. It's actually 6-star Nature's Wrath. It stacks slower, but it goes up to 30%. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. Now, the stats aren't insane, but again, could still be decent. I wonder how it compares to just the 40% crit damage. Yeah, I don't know. The attack and accuracy, this would be lovely for bomb champions, but bomb champions, I don't think this would affect bomb damage. I think that's totally separate, unfortunately. The Orb of Transfixion, HP, attack, and 6 speed. Sorry, HP accuracy, 51 accuracy, 6 speed. Wearer has a 10% chance to steal one random buff when attacking a target. This effect cannot be resisted. Occurs once per skill. Actually, again, pretty darn good, right? You think about Arena, it's random, it's a small chance, but hey, stealing a random buff, like you could steal Stone Skin, you know? You could steal block damage. You could steal some really powerful stuff. It's a small chance, but for anyone that's attacking a lot, pretty solid. And again, 6 speed, 51 accuracy is useful on a ton of different champions, and HP is useful on almost everybody. So it's not too shabby. Scroll of the Unseen. 400 attack, 21% crit damage, 6 speed. I mean, it's a damage dealer's dream. Not as much crit damage, funny enough, as the Malefic Talon, but a chunk more attack. The wearer's damage increases by 1% each time any other champion takes a turn. When the wearer is under a Veil or Perfect Veil buff, stacks up to 30%. Damage bonus resets after the wearer takes a turn. This is a wacky one. This is a weird one. The stats are solid. The effect is a bit weird. I mean, Candrafon is going to love this, right? Veil or Perfect Veil are quite niche. There's certainly some champions that have them, but not a ton. And then, you know, you need the enemy to be taking lots of turns and you not to be taking lots of turns. So, like, it's not that good against most bosses. Like, most bosses aren't taking that many turns. So more like a Perfect Veil damage dealer in Arena. Very niche. I'm sure this would be great for somebody, aside from Candrafon, but pretty niche. I'm a little disappointed in that one, to be honest. Hand of Uncreation up next. It's the first of the 2 legendaries. 96 accuracy, 51 resist, 6 speed, lovely stats. Wearer reduces the chance of debuff application, buff removal, or steal effects, turn meter reduction effects, and increased skill cooldown effects by 10%. That's super good. That's so good, right? That's so good. So just a straight up 10% chance to stop, just randomly 10% chance to stop any debuffs, any buff from any buff strips, any buff steals, turn meter reduction, lockout, just 10% chance that it doesn't happen. It's very random, but my goodness, when that procs, that could make a huge difference, right? Oh, whatever. They tried to lock me out. 10% chance triggered, didn't happen. They're screwed, you know? Or anything like that. That's actually really, really solid. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we've got the Gore Crescent, the other legendary one. 400 attack, 21% crit damage, 6 speed. Funny enough, it's the same stats as the Epic. Wearer's next attack after killing an enemy does 20% more damage. Again, that's a solid thing. It's again, not useful against many bosses, but it is very solid in arena. So that's a decent one for sure. Then we've got the two mythicals, the Chrono Cube, 6,000 attack, 200 attack, and 100 defense. Weird spread of stats. Unlikely you need all of them, but maybe some of the champions do. Wearer has a 50% chance to take 2 turns in a row. If this effect activates, Wearer skips the next turn. Occurs only once per battle. That's crazy. Like, that is genuinely breaks the entire game. You have a 50-50 to take 2 turns in a row. Yeah, that's so strong. I wonder how this works with like a Lady Mikage. So let's say Lady Mikage goes in, does her metamorph? Does that count as a turn? I'm not sure how that would interact, but potentially you could, if it does work well with Mikage, you could metamorph, buff strip, and then AoE stun. And then, yeah, she misses her next turn, but that's okay. Right? You just freaking buff strip them and stun them AoE. That's great. Yeah, or I don't know. There's a ton of potential. This could be wacky on Rotus as well. Again, I don't know how it would interact with his move. I just don't know how it interacts with like extra turns and stuff like that. And metamorphs, it's kind of funky, but this could be broken, right? On a bunch of champions, this could be absolutely broken. Yeah, could be super crazy. So I don't know, Warlord locks you out and then puts up a big shield on your team, right? Yeah, great. Kind of nuts. So that is potentially game breaking. That's a huge amount of RNG in arena. Like, imagine going into an arena fight and all 4 enemies have the Chrono Cube. And like they just get 2 turns at the start. Half of them are getting 2 turns. It's crazy. Then the Stormcaller, 40% crit damage, 200 attack, 6 speed. Great stats for damage dealer. The wearer has a 20% chance of placing Stormcall on themselves whenever they land a critical hit. I don't know if this will stack multiple times on like an AoE or whatnot. But again, we saw the Stormcall buff already. It's a 3% damage boost, stacks up to 5 times. Then at 5 times, it consumes that Stormcall buff to do a guaranteed stun on your next hit. Extremely powerful. Obviously, you might get polymorphed placing the stun. But yeah, it's just a ramping damage boost. It's like the Thor passive kind of baked in. Ramping damage boost with the stun. Extremely strong as well. So I think these 2 mythicals are pretty bonkers. And yeah, even like... yeah, and they're pretty consistently bonkers as well. Yeah, pretty consistently bonkers. Very, very nice. So there you go. Let me know what you think about these, just in terms overall. I definitely think the Hallowed Hilt with 24 speed stands out. The Wand of Submission is quite nice as well. Like, if you reflect a sheep back, great. And it's got 12 speed. I do think that the Malefic Talon stood out to me. It's been great for damage dealers. And Hand of Uncreation was fun. And then these 2 are really good. Funny thing is, like, these just don't have as much speed, right? The Hallowed Hilt is just miles ahead in terms of speed. Let's look at the gemstones now. So we've got all the different sizes, and bearing in mind, you've got different slots on these. A circle is very common for your regular ones. And yeah, a lot of them have like 2 circles. All of the high rarity ones have like at least 1 circle on the epics or 2 on the... Yeah, even some of these epics have 2. Let's look at the circles. The other gemstones then are more uncommon. So the circles, Boss Slayer, 10% more damage to bosses. Brilliant. This is mythic, so the mythic ones are better, but that's insane for for Hydra, for anything, right? That's bonkers good. Bolster defense. Ignore defense effects are 12% less effective against the wearer. Again, that's bonkers for arena. So strong for surviving. Undead Bulwark. Every time the wearer is revived, decreases all incoming damage by 10% up to 30%. That's really solid as well. It's a bit more niche for sure, but yeah, just for being survivable and whatnot, that's pretty powerful. Bloodthirsty Prowess. Each time you kill an enemy, increase your damage by 10% up to 30%. That's, again, crazy for arena. Imagine that on someone like a Rotus. Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Puppet Master. Wearer gains an additional 30 accuracy when attempting to place stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, true fear, petrification, and sheep debuffs. It's okay. 30 accuracy is not a lot, but it's something. Uncontrollable. Wearer gains an additional 30 resistance against enemies attempting to place those crowd control things. All right. Explosive Power. Bomb debuffs placed by the wearer do 10% more damage. That's great. Hey, 10% more damage from bombs. There's something there for your bomb champions, because otherwise they wouldn't really benefit much. Yeah, just straight up 10% more damage from bombs. This is a weird one. Dungeon Delver. Wearer does 10% more damage in dungeon battles. So just in general. I guess you could stack that with the bosses, and they could do like just 20% more damage in dungeon bosses. Kind of crazy. Unflinching. Bosses do 5% less damage to the wearer. Potentially very powerful for the new Chimera, which could have a lot of damage coming in, might help you survive. And really strong for solo strategies as well. Destructive accuracy. Wearer ignores 5% resistance when placing bombs, poisons, and HP burns. Again, those more niche champions in Arena are going to like that. Target Finder. The wearer's accuracy increases by 5 whenever an enemy resists a debuff placed by the wearer, up to 40. This is kind of a funky one. Just general accuracy boost. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. Bow Killer. Wearer does 5% more damage against enemies with full HP. That's actually very powerful for like an opening nuke in Arena or something like that. Very, very nice. Critical Bolster. The wearer's defense increases by 1% each time they receive a crit, stacks up to 10%. Decent enough damage boost for defense-based champions. Okay, and some survivability in Arena. Unerring Focus. Wearer's accuracy increases by 3 for each debuff on them. It's alright, small bonus. Unstoppable. Turn meter decrease effects are 10% less effective on the wearer. I think that's actually really, really solid for Arena, where turn meter manipulation is very common at the moment. Very strong. Invigorated. Turn meter increase effects are 10% more effective on the wearer. This one is not as good as making your turn meter increase effects 10% stronger, because you could just, like, whatever, slap that on Arbiter, and she's boosted everybody. But this could be very powerful, again, for speed teams in Arena, where you're using lots of turn meter boosting. Could be kind of nice. It's only rare as well, right? So they are the circular gemstones, some very powerful stuff there. And they're very general as well. You've got a big, big mix of effects within the circular ones, which is probably what you want, right? Because they're on almost every relic. Then we've got the triangular. Extra Punishment. Wearer does 20% more damage against enemies under stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, true fear, petrification, or sheep. Wow, that's very powerful. For some champions, like a Gurgo, the Augur will absolutely love this. AoE freeze and then just blast people. Double Down. When attacking targets under stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, true fear, petrification, or sheep, with your default skill, you have a 10% chance to repeat the attack once. That's kind of weird. Like, this is just way better, right? Just you do 20% more damage, 10% chance to do double damage. I'd rather have the straight up 20% damage, I think. This could be strong with people with very strong A1s, like, you know, I don't know. What's her name? The mythical orc who's got the really strong form 2, just slamming out the A1s. Could be cool. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one. Constant Onslaught. Wearer gains an 8% chance to gain an extra turn after killing an enemy. That's incredible. That is so powerful for Arena. That's actually nuts, right? For extra turns. Again, imagine that in a Rotus. Just proccing extra turns all over the place. Terrifying. Sharpened Riposte. Wearer does 50% more damage when counterattacking. Actually, again, pretty darn strong with counterattack teams. And champs with strong A1s like Alaz, the Sunbearer, would love this, for instance. Pretty cool. Piercing Strike. After killing an enemy, your next attack will ignore 12% defense. That's going to make your next attack pretty strong. Critical Strategy. Increases your crit damage by 10% for each enemy whose HP is 50% or lower. It's actually a nice damage boost for Hydra. Funny. And it could be a nice damage boost, just general damage boost. Rolling Force. When using multi-hit skills, each consecutive hit after the first one that the wearer makes will ignore 5% of the target's defense. Wow, that's very nice. Marius says hello. I will take that. Very strong. Yeah, there's a few multi-hit champs that could be very powerful for them, actually. Extra ignore defense. That could be a huge damage boost. Anyone especially, even with a double hit, it's pretty decent. But anyone with a triple hit, there's a few quad hit champions like a Krutraxa and stuff like that that will go bananas with that. Very strong. Attacking Prowess. Wearer has an 8% chance to reset a skill's cooldown if it kills an enemy. Oh my god, that's also crazy good. Holy. Like, imagine you nuke them with your AoE Taris skill. 8% chance you just get to do it again the next turn. That's crazy. Really powerful for Arena and wave clear and anything like that. Pouncing Strike. When attacking an enemy, increase your crit rate by 5% for each active debuff on the target placed by the wearer. That seems quite... I mean, you could definitely build like a Lydia or something with... If you want to build a crit rate Lydia, you could build her with less crit rate. You know, you could do that. Target smash, wearer's damage increases by 1% of their total accuracy. That's a funny one. It's not that much. Like, if you have 500 accuracy, I mean, it's 5% more damage. Kind of condition free. It's okay. It's pretty niche. It's okay. Again, very strong on someone like Gurgo. Very strong on like Carnage. Everyone's going to get a Carnage eventually, right? Very good for him. Works well with increased accuracy buffs. Cool. Okay, it's not bad at all. Unrelenting power. When using multi-hit skills, each consecutive hit after the first one the wearer makes does 3% more damage. Okay, not as good as ignoring defense, but it's the same sort of thing. There's a few of these that are definitely like just weaker versions of each other for sure. Like, I thought that extra punishment, double down are like very similar. It's a little disappointing, but okay. Quick strike. If no enemy has taken a turn yet, your first attack does 10% more damage. That's really, really strong for Arena, for sure. Unbowed Might. The wearer's crit damage increases by 3% for every debuff you're under, up to 30%. Pretty niche. It's only rare, but it's pretty niche. Could be okay. And small benefit. Pierce defenses. The wearer ignores 3% of the target's defense if the target's under 2 or more debuffs. That's actually pretty darn solid, right? Nearly every boss is going to be under 2 or more debuffs, and you're ignoring 3% more defense. It's a nice bonus. That's going to be very commonly used. Shield Breaker, where does 5% more damage to targets under shield per each buff on the target. Oh, wow. Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord. That's actually really solid. That's very, very nice, especially for champions that ignore shields, right? Like, you put in, like poor old Nekret the Great was hard countered by Narses already. Now it's even worse, right? My gosh. For each buff on the target, like if they've got 4 or 5 buffs is not uncommon, especially with Nekret, you're doing 20 to 25% more damage. That's a crazy boost. Wow. That's nuts. Definitely countering champions with shields. Wow, okay. Life Drain. Wearer's critical hits destroy 1% of the target's max HP per each buff on the wearer. Stacks up to 20%. You know what? That's actually really nice, because that's now a much more consistent way for a lot of people to deal with the frickin' Scarab boss, right? That Scarab boss in the Cursed City, he's such a pain in the butt. Now you can destroy HP. Now, it's only up to 20% destroyed HP, but still, it's something to speed things up a little bit. Kind of, it's a small benefit in Arena. It's kind of interesting, but yeah. All right, onto the square gemstones. Torpidity. Decrease an enemy's speed by 7% if they're under stun, free sleep, blah, blah, blah. A hard crowd control placed by the wearer. That's rough, man. Like, you give that to, again, Mikage or Arman's, Galathier, any of the like top tier control champs in Arena, and the control becomes even like Arman's is bad enough, right? God, with that, it's just disgusting. Goad God. The wearer ignores 15% of the target's resistance when placing Provoke. What? That's super niche. That's a mythical. I'd be very if that was the mythical gemstone I pulled, I would be absolutely disgusted. That seems terrible. Blunt Blades. Enemies under Provoke... Another Provoke one. Enemies under Provoke debuff have a 15% chance to land a weak hit on the wearer. I mean, again, it's okay. Pretty underwhelming for a mythical, I feel. Buff Depletion. When attacked, the wearer has a 15% chance to decrease the duration of a random buff on the attacker by 1 turn. That's much better. That's a solid general one for Arena. That's decent. Steadfast Preparation. If the wearer loses 20% or more of their max HP from a single attack, the next hit received will deal 20% less damage. It seems like it's... I wonder how, like, if you get hit by a double hitter, and the first hit, would this reduce the second hit? I'm not sure. The downside of this is maybe their nuker claps you, and then, I don't know, whatever, their Duchess Lilitu gives you a little A1 and uses up this buff. So I'm not sure how this will work in practice. Might be decent. Could be quite decent against bosses that hit hard. Like, I know that Chimera has a thing where he starts to repeat his attacks if he does more than 20% of your max HP. This would protect from that, right? That could interrupt the chain. So maybe it's okay. Weakening Resolve. When attacked with a multi-hit skill, decrease the damage the wearer receives from each subsequent hit after the first one by 10%. Yo, that's actually pretty nice, again, against multi-hitters. That's pretty nice against the Chimera, which has multi-hits. Again, against champs like Marius, it's a nice bit of damage reduction against his A2, stuff like that. Damage mitigation. If the incoming damage will exceed 30% of the wearer's max HP, decrease the damage by 10%. That's actually, again, pretty solid for tankiness. Pretty common in Arena for nukers to do 30% more than champ's max HP. You'd expect that. Reducing that damage by 10%, that's actually very, very solid for Arena in general, for survivability. Opening Gambit. Increase the wearer's chance of placing debuffs with their default skill by 5%. Yo, again, that's actually really nice. Most debuffs on the default skill don't have a 100% chance. Upping that seems very solid. Yeah, very good. Single Combat Master. Wearer receives 5% less damage from single target attacks. That's also pretty solid. Weak Retort. The wearer receives 15% less damage from counterattacks. That seems pretty bad. Strengthening Will. The damage received by the wearer decreases by 1% for every 10% HP lost. That seems a bit underwhelming to me compared to just, this would be more commonly just 10%. It's going to trigger the 10% very often. This is like a much lower number semi-consistently. It seems not super strong. Strength Sap. When the wearer is attacked, destroy the attacker's max HP by 3% up to 30%. You know, I actually think this is pretty nice. That's actually kind of cool. For like a tanky team that could really wear down enemies, that's kind of interesting. And it doesn't matter how hard you're hit. So again, like if Duchess hits you with A1, her HP is being destroyed. It's small, but it's okay. Again, that's actually really, really good against the Scarab boss as well. But Barb Defense. Any reflect damage effects and buffs on the wearer deal 10% more damage to enemies. Yo, we know the Chimera does take 5 times increased damage from reflect damage. But I think it's capped, so you might be hitting the cap anyway. I'm not sure. That could be nice, though. And yeah, any reflect damage champs in the future. Could be an interesting one to watch. That's kind of fun. It's only rare, so it's okay. Embellish Shield. Shield buffs placed on the wearer are 10% stronger. It's okay. Again, you put that with a champ that's expecting to go in with shields, or like a tanky champion that puts out shields. Quite decent. Steadfastness. Destroy HP effects are 20% less effective against the wearer. That seems kind of useless. Sanctified Skin. Wearer receives 10% more healing. That's okay. All right, cool. Lots of defensive ones in the square gemstones. Diamond up next, then Pentagonal, or as some might say, Pentagonal. Let's take a look at the diamond ones first, and then we're done. It's been a long one. Thank you guys for watching so far. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it so far, because this is a hell of a long video covering everything. Necro Defense. This is your first mythical from the diamonds. Wearer reduces incoming damage by 10% for each dead ally. That's potentially actually really strong for some teams where you're expecting people to be dead. Could be very, very good. Like in Arena, that could be 30% damage reduction on someone like a Fatalis or something. Could be kind of cool. Revival's Boon. Wearer gains 10% turn meter every time they revive an ally. Oh my god. That's pretty interesting as well. Like for AoE revives especially. That's pretty cool. It's small, but it does add up. I was going to say Marishka would go crazy, but Marishka's dead when she revives, so she wouldn't benefit at all. So never mind. Like Duchess would love this. Stuff like this. It's okay. It's okay. Heal and Go. The wearer has a 5% chance to get an extra turn when healing an ally with an active skill. Again, that's potentially absolutely crazy. Not a ton of champions that do heal, but again, like Marishka would love that, right? Heal, 5% chance to do her A1, or A1's OP as well. Kind of nuts. Yeah, interesting. Caught Unaware. Wearer gains 25 accuracy for each enemy who's not taken a turn yet. Oh my lord, that's insane. Oh, that is bonkers for bomb champions, bonkers for lockout champions, for buff strips. Yeah, like, I mean, that's easily 100 extra accuracy in Arena. That's honest. I think that's actually overpowered, to be honest. Like, resistance is tough enough to build in Arena. Now it's even worse. That seems crazy to me. Parting Gift. Whenever an ally is killed by an enemy, wearer has a 10% chance to decrease the cooldown of one of their skills. That's extremely good as well, right? Yeah, that's really solid. Gathering Momentum. Increase the wearer's turn meter by 3% each time they place a debuff on an enemy. Cannot increase the turn meter by more than 20% in a single turn. That's also nuts, right? If I put out even like an Armance, I AoE stun 4 of the enemy. He just gets an extra 12% turn meter. That's really, really good for a lot of champions. That's very strong. These diamond ones are kind of nuts. Carved Open. The wearer's default skill ignores 10% of the target's resistance. Very niche. Oh, not great. Okay, and for some champs, not great. Expeditious Exploitation. Increase the wearer's speed by 5 for each enemy under an active stun, freeze. Okay, any hard crowd control, but placed by the wearer, so they have to place it. But man, again, like I tell you, like you combine, like there's some bonkers, some crazy combinations here of gemstones for all those, yeah, all the crowd control champs. Like, yeah, Armans, Mikage, etc. There's a ton of stuff that's giving them more turn meter and speed. It's like, in my opinion, that's already kind of frustrating in Arena. You're just getting chain locked out and you just have to pray polymorph works. Now they're going to be even stronger. I don't know. That seems kind of, I'm a bit on the fence about all these buffs to those sorts of champions, to be honest. Precision removal. Wearer's accuracy increases by 30 when removing buffs. That seems more balanced. Starting strength. Your resist increases by 30 until you take a turn. Energy expansion. Every time the wearer receives healing from a skill, increases your max HP. Oh, whoa! Increase your max HP by 1% up to 10%. There's almost nothing in this game that increases your max HP. There's like, what, one champion? And you don't even see him used very much? That's crazy. That's like a nice little thing. Yeah, for any HP-based damage dealer. Like for a Taras that's going in with a Marishka that's healing quite frequently. That's actually really, really nice, right? Just 10% more max HP, 10% more damage. Let's go. Actually, I guess Taras, it's his base. Taras doesn't benefit from this. Never mind. Taras scales off his base HP. So if you increase his max HP, or if you destroy his max HP, it doesn't affect his damage. So never mind. Wouldn't actually help. Okay. So yeah, huh. Some champions will benefit. It's intriguing for sure. Revival Blessing. Allies revived by the wearer are additionally healed by 10% of the wearer's HP. That's insane. Oh my god, that's OP as hell. Allies revived by the wearer are healed by 10% of the wearer's HP. So, in other words, when Marishka revives everyone now, they're coming back 100% health. He's bringing everyone back full health, pretty much. Unless they're super tanky. Arbiters revive. Everyone's coming back significantly tankier. Yeah, wow. Okay, that's actually very strong. That's crazy for Marishka. Enhanced Shot. Wearer's accuracy increases by 3 for each buff on them. Actually pretty decent. Blessed Heal. When the wearer heals an ally with a skill, the heal is 10% more effective. Okay. Wearer's speed increases by 2 for each dead ally. It's a very small buff. Nothing like the difference between these two is crazy. Greater Restoration. When the wearer restores destroyed max HP, restores 25% more effective. That obviously synergizes. Probably that synergizes with all the blessings and the sets and everything. That might be kind of useful if you're using those. Generally, you want to use champions like Podrick or Marishka who fully restore destroyed max HP. But that's somewhat okay. And then the final list of gemstones, the Pentagonal. Pentagonads. Let's go. Slow the enemy. Increase the wearer's accuracy by 40 when using turn meter reduction effects. Okay. Not amazing. It's okay. Patient Refuge. When the wearer is forced to miss their turn, damage received by them is decreased by 30%. Yo, that's actually kind of nice. That's kind of nice, right? Slap on a polymorph, slap on Patient Refuge, and yeah, if you're being like stun locked and stuff, it gives you a bit of a way to fight back. It makes you tankier. It's okay. Impede them. Increase the wearer's accuracy by 40 when using increased cooldown effects. Again, you know, that's probably stronger than this, but yeah, you know, obviously you're going to put that on, whatever. You know, your Yumiko's, yeah, obviously. Skill Master. Increase the wearer's resist by 40 when resisting increased cooldown effects. That's actually pretty useful, right? You could put that on a reset champion like Crixia or Chimera, someone that you're intending to use to counter lockout. It's okay. Nimble Miss. The wearer receives a 5% turn meter. Receives 5% turn meter each time an enemy resists a debuff placed by the wearer. Cannot gain more than 20% turn meter in a single turn. That's actually surprisingly strong because you can build champions intentionally with no accuracy that can place debuffs, and then you could go kind of crazy. But like, you know, like a Rotus A1 now is giving him 5% turn meter because it's going to fail to place where they'll resist the decreased defense sometimes. Kind of interesting. Yeah. That could maybe be strong. I'm curious about that. Skill Adept. Wearer has a 10% chance to prevent their skills being placed on cooldown during an extra turn. Oh my lord. That's insane. Holy shit. Like, Who gives extra turns consistently? I mean, Shuzen does that, right? So like when Shuzen whatever activates Seek Friend, he just has a 10% chance his skill doesn't go on cooldown. Like maybe it doesn't matter, but no, that seems insanely good, right? That seems very strong, and for the future as well. I don't know. That seems very strong. Power Reset. Whenever the wearer's HP drops below 50%, has a 10% chance to reduce the cooldown of a random active skill by 1 turn. It seems pretty balanced, honestly. It's just maybe even a bit weak. Like compared to some of the others, this is a bit weak. This seems like fair. Some of the others seem kind of OP, I think. Yeah, you're gonna drop below 50% HP pretty frequently. It's a pretty small chance to only get 1 turn off. I mean, it's nice when it procs. I feel like the chance is pretty low. I feel like this could be like a 50% chance. Maybe then it would be too strong. I don't know. Speedy Willpower. The wearer receives 5% turn meter each time they resist a debuff. Cannot gain more than 20% turn meter in a single turn. That's very powerful. Again, on high resist champs, like, yeah, very strong. Growing Resolve. Wearer's resist increases by 5 whenever a debuff is placed on them, up to 40. Pretty bad. Maximum Velocity. Wearer gains 10% turn meter after taking an extra turn. Actually, pretty strong. Survival Speed. Fills the wearer's turn meter by 10% when their HP drops below 50. Decent, actually. Assured Security. Your resist increases by 30 against buff removal and buff steal effects. Okay. In for the kill. Wearer gains 3% turn meter whenever an enemy loses 25% or more HP. Cannot gain more than 20% in a single turn. Really strong for a rare, right? You know, you go in and you slam in an AoE attack in Arena. You're almost definitely gaining 12%. Yeah, I don't know how you gain 20% in a single turn. That seems... How does that happen? I don't know. You'd have to have so many... I guess against Spider, right? Fleetfoot. The wearer's turn meter increases by 5% faster when they're forced to miss their turn. It's a small benefit. Yeah, I mean, you put that with the Patient Refuge, and okay. I still feel like the Chain CC gemstones are so much more powerful than these protect you against Chain CC, so... I feel like this is a net loss overall for yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Unbroken Strength. Wearer's resist increases by 3 for each buff on them. That's a little bit better. It's okay. And Extra Velocity. The wearer's turn meter increases by 3% whenever the wearer fails to place a debuff. Cannot increase it by more than 20% in a single turn. Again, that's pretty decent, actually. So there you go. Lots of speed stuff in the gonads. The diamond one is lots of, like, again, reviving and turn meter. Square ones, lots of defenses. Triangles, lots of offenses. And the circulars are very general. So, like, yeah, we've got triangle. Wait, I've already forgotten what they were. If we look at the Hallowed Hilt, for instance, it's got 2 circles. So, general. Great. And then it had, what, I have two diamonds. And the diamonds are all the speed stuff. Yeah, well, geez. So, yeah, Hallowed Hilt looks bonkers good. Really, really strong. Let's look at, what's the Chrono Cube? The extra turn one is 2 pentagonals. So 2 circles, which are the general ones, and 2... I can't stop saying pentagonal now. 2 pentagonals, which are actually kind of weak, I thought. Like, kind of more speed-based. Actually, that's kind of nuts. Never mind. You got a lot of extra turn stuff here, and this thing gives you an extra turn, presumably. So that could actually be very strong with the extra turn. Or when you're forced to miss a turn, you get benefits, and this forces you to miss a turn. Yeah, honestly, I feel like a lot of the gonad ones are designed to fit in the Chrono Cube very explicitly, really. Well, there we go, guys. Oh my god, this has been almost an hour of a video. This has been a whopper. Hopefully this has been interesting to you. Getting to check these out early, hearing my thoughts on them. Let me know what you think the most OP combinations are. Do you agree that the 24 speed on the Hallowed Hilt is incredibly strong? I also think the Chrono Cube is potentially incredibly broken as well. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the gemstones too. We covered a ton of info in this video. Like I said, there's actually, look at it. In fact, there's a coming soon section right here. I wonder if there might be like Siege or Life Arena specific relics too. I actually think this system is awesome. You know, it could certainly do with some balancing tweaks here or there. I don't know if they'll do that, right? Raid are pretty reluctant to do small balancing tweaks. I'm not talking about even major ones, just, you know, small little tweaks. Like, oh, this relic's a little bit weak, give it a small boost. This one's too strong, give it a small nerf. You know, small tweaks could really improve this system. This could, I've high hopes for this if it works out well for, as the game goes forwards, for interesting diversity, tons of customization. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I expect be very difficult to get a fully maxed out Chrono Cube. I'll say that right now. It's insane, but expect that to be very hard. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.